John 3:16. You don't need me to finish it. You already know it. You probably memorized it as a child. It's on stadium banners, bumper stickers, the bottom of fast food cups. It is the most famous verse in the Bible. And because it's so familiar, because we have heard it 10,000 times, most of us stopped actually reading it years ago. But there's a word in John 3:16 that almost nobody stops on. A word that completely reframes what believing actually means. A word that turns faith from a mental performance you have to sustain into something so simple, so restful, so within reach that even your most exhausted, doubting, barely holding on self can do it. And once you see it, this verse you have known your whole life is going to feel like you are reading it for the very first time. Because here's what happens to most of us with this verse. We start reading it correctly. God so loved the world that he gave his only Son. Beautiful, clear, received. And then we get to the word believes, and something shifts. Believes becomes a question. Is my belief strong enough? Do I feel it enough? Am I convinced enough, committed enough, consistent enough in my faith? And suddenly, John 3:16, the verse that was supposed to be the simplest statement of the gospel, becomes a test, a standard to meet, a performance to maintain. So we try to believe harder. We try to generate more conviction, more certainty, more spiritual intensity. And on days we can't, on the days doubt creeps in, or we feel nothing, or life has knocked us sideways, we wonder if the verse still applies to us. If God so loved the world that he gave his Son, but what if my believing isn't good enough to access that gift? That question has quietly tormented more Christians than almost any other. And I want to show you today that it's built on a misunderstanding of what believing actually is. Here's the reframe that changes the perspective of how we see this. We have turned believing into a work, a mental exertion, a spiritual muscle we have to flex with enough intensity to keep God's love active toward us. But that is not what the word means in its original context. And it's not the picture Jesus is painting anywhere in the Gospels. Believing in the New Testament is not the effort of mental conviction, it is the act of direction. It is where you turned, who you leaned on, what you stopped trying to do yourself. It is less like lifting a weight and more like sitting down. And once you understand that, the question stops being, is my faith strong enough? And becomes something completely different. Something you can actually answer. Something that doesn't depend on how you feel today. Let me show you what I mean. There's an image I want you to hold in your mind. Two people walking across a frozen lake in winter. One walks with complete confidence, no hesitation, full speed, total trust in the ice. The other shuffles nervously, weight shifting, heart pounding, convinced with every step that the ice might give way. Now, who stays safe? Both of them, if the ice is thick enough. The thickness of the ice determines whether they are held, not the confidence of the walker. Perfect faith in thin ice still sends you through. Trembling, terrified faith in thick ice holds you completely. And this is the single most important thing I want you to hear today about John 3:16. Your security is not based on the thickness of your faith. It is based on the thickness of your Savior. A small, exhausted, barely whispered yes to a solid Savior is enough. He is not waiting for you to believe with enough intensity before He holds you. He holds you because He is solid, not because your grip is strong. Now, let's look at the word believes more carefully. The Greek word is pistion, a present active participle. But here's what matters for us practically. Throughout John's Gospel, believing is consistently associated with coming, receiving, drinking, eating. All of these are reception words, not production words. You don't produce water by drinking it, you receive it. You don't manufacture nourishment by eating, you receive it. And Jesus gives us the clearest possible picture of this in the same gospel. John 6:35. I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger, and whoever believes in me shall never thirst. Coming and believing are used interchangeably. Believing is coming, turning toward, leaning on. So, here's the simplest way I can say this. Believing in Jesus is not a mental work you do. It's the stopping of the work you are doing to save yourself. It's the moment you say, I can't hold myself anymore. I'm sitting down. You don't work to sit in a chair. You don't have to convince yourself the chair exists or flex your trust muscles to make it solid. You just stop standing and let it hold you. That's it. That's John 3:16. Have you stopped standing? Have you let him hold the weight? Then the verse is yours completely right now. And then there's this, the detail in John 3:16 that almost everyone reads past. Whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Have, present tense, not will receive eventually, not will qualify for after a lifetime of faithful believing. Have, now, this moment, the moment you sat down. In the original Greek, this is even clearer. It is a present possession. Everlasting life is not the prize at the end of the race. It's the atmosphere you enter the moment you stop running. You don't have to wait until you die to find out if it worked. You don't have to maintain a certain level of spiritual performance to keep it active. You are in Him now. The life of the vine is flowing now. You are okay with God, not eventually, not conditionally, not after you've proven yourself. Now, already, completely. You don't re-believe every morning to stay saved any more than a branch reattaches itself to the vine every morning to keep receiving sap. The connection was made, the life flows. Your job is simply not to unplug. And even then, as we saw in Galatians, it's self effort that unplugs you, not failure. Let me give you the picture that I think will stay with you longest. Imagine someone who has been standing for hours, maybe days, carrying weight, muscles shaking, too tired to take another step, but afraid to stop because stopping feels like giving up. And someone who loves them walks in, pulls out a chair, and says, "Sit down, I've got you. You don't have to keep standing. The work is done. Sit down." Now, is sitting down a great achievement? Is it a demonstration of strength or discipline or spiritual intensity? No. Sitting down is the easiest thing in the world. Any exhausted person can do it. But it requires one thing. You have to stop standing. You have to stop the effort of holding yourself up and let something else hold you. That is believing. That is John 3:16. The chair is the finished work of Jesus, solid, stable, more than strong enough for the full weight of your weary soul. God so loved the world that he built the chair, that he gave his son to make it possible for you to stop standing. You don't have to believe hard. You don't have to believe perfectly. You just have to sit down. And if some part of you at some point said yes to Jesus, even shakily, even with tears, even in a moment of desperation at the end of yourself, you sat down, and the chair has been holding you ever since. Not because of the quality of your sitting, because of the solidness of the chair. So let me speak to the person who is tired of trying to believe hard enough. The person who wakes up and checks their faith levels before they check anything else. Who measures their spiritual temperature and worries when it's not where it should be. Who reads John 3:16 and hears not a promise but a standard. Here is what I want you to hear today. God so loved you, past tense, already decided, before you believed well, before you believed consistently, before you believed at all. He loved you, He gave His Son. The gift was given. And the moment you believed, even shakily, you started sitting on the chair. Believing is not what activates God's love toward you. His love was already active even before the foundation of the world. Believing is simply you opening your hands to receive what was already extended. And if you have ever opened your hands, even once, even with doubt mixed in, even in your most broken moment, the gift is yours. Not because your receiving was perfect, but because His giving was perfect. You don't have to re earn it tomorrow. You don't have to maintain a belief intensity to keep it valid. You are in Him. He is the vine. You are the branch. The sap flows whether you feel it or not. Stop measuring your faith. Start looking at what your faith is in. Because what it's in is unshakable. And that means so are you. If this gave you permission to stop striving, subscribe. That's what this channel is here for. Every week, I take the verses that have become burdens and show you that They were always meant to be invitations. This is the final video in the Misunderstood Verses Volume 1 series. If you have watched through this series and something has shifted, I'd genuinely love to know. Leave a comment below. Tell me which video landed for you most. And the book Volume 1 of Misunderstood Verse has been published, and you can find the link. Volume 2 is coming. 12 more verses, 12 more moments where the Bible is saying something far more freeing than we were told. The playlist for Volume 1 is right here. And if you want to start from the beginning, the first video is a good place. And by the time you watch this video, if I have published Volume 1 of Misunderstood Verses book, you can find the link in the description as well as in the comment. I'll see you in Volume 2.